If you build solutions today on Azure, this is the image model you've been waiting for. In fact, you're probably already using this model and don't even know it. It's already embedded inside of PowerPoint and OneDrive. What I'm talking about, of course, is Microsoft's native Image 2.5 image generation model. In today's video, we're going to talk about some reasons why you should consider this model, take a look at some of the outputs of this model, and dive deeper into the inputs and outputs via the API in order to leverage this model inside your existing solutions. So let's dive in. AI image generation is already very competitive. There's top options available from Google and OpenAI. So why should you consider Microsoft's option to generate your images? Here's the three core reasons. First and foremost, it's already set up inside the Microsoft ecosystem. This means you don't have to have any separate purchase orders. You can just dive in and leverage this model directly inside of some of your most familiar Microsoft tools. The second point is that it can be set up and hosted directly in AI Foundry. So if you're leveraging other components of AI Foundry today, you can leverage this image generation feature via the API directly inside of AI Foundry. With this, you get controls and guardrails that you can add additional controls around your image generation. And third is cost and performance. While other models might be cheaper, some other models might produce better output, this model from Microsoft is really a great blend between the two, between cost and performance. And let's dive in and take a look at some examples, and you can see from yourself what kind of output you get from this model. The first comparison I want to show you here is comparing the two different levels of models that Microsoft provides. One is the Image 2.5 Flash model, which is the cheaper, faster version of the model, and that's an image here on the left, as compared to the Image 2.5 base model, which is the full featured version of this model. Now, what you can see here is the picture on the left looks pretty good. Hot pizza with two dogs sitting there. And the pizza on the right, you get a little bit more detail. You can see the steam coming off the pizza. And I think the dogs look a little bit better in the picture on the right. But you can see here the cost, we're looking at 2 cents to almost 5 cents. So you're looking at twice as much cost with that second image. And depending on what you're doing, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's worth twice as much for this type of output. But it all is up to you to make that decision on your use case. So this is one example. And here's another example, and this is showcasing one of the really strong points of this model, and that's displaying text inside of an image. A lot of AI generation models today really struggle with this, and this model does a very good job at that. Again, on the left is going to be the Flash example that comes in at 2 cents. So the one on the right is going to be the base model that comes in about 5 cents. And this, I don't intend you to actually read the full prompt, but I threw in a bunch of text here, and so it would be displayed. And I think between the two, the text rendered pretty good on both of them. I can't really tell a big difference. I think the picture on the right from the full model looks a little bit more realistic, I would say, probably than the image on the left. I like to throw in things like rain and lightning so you can kind of see how that responds to that, and it kind of has rain. And in fact, it actually put both images has the dog inside the cafe with the umbrella, so never know, my sprinklers might be going off. So, but actually that is in the prompt. So this gives you an idea of some text comparison between these two. So how does this stack up against some of the competitor models out there? So again, let's take a look at our dog picture with the pizza. One on the left is going to be our Image 2.5 Flash. Again, it's coming in at 2 seconds, and that took about 20 seconds to render. The image in the middle is going to be our OpenAI Image 2, and that is, again, at 20 seconds to render, and it's significantly cheaper. It's a quarter of the price, coming in at about half of a cent. And you can see here the image, I definitely would favor the Microsoft MAI image here as opposed to the OpenAI image. Just looks a little cleaner and crisper, looks a little drained out in the middle. And the third option is our Google Image 4 generation, not Nano Banana Pro. This is a cheaper model they have. And this comes in at about 4 cents at 7 seconds to render this. So if speed is what you're looking for, this Google model was a third of the time of all the others. But you are going to pay for that. It comes in at 2x the cost of the Microsoft model. And I think it came out pretty good. I think I would rate the Microsoft model first and the Google one probably a close second behind there. So let's take a look at another prompt, and this was putting some text around a curved coffee mug. Again, I wanted to show kind of what that text would look like. Again, I have my three models. Prices are all the same, and rendering time was all about the same here. And comparing the three, I think they all look pretty good. I don't think I'd really choose. Actually, I think the OpenAI one is kind of the one stands out the most to me here. Maybe it's because I'm in the center of the screen, but I think both the other ones are solid contenders as well. So in this case, again, getting that Microsoft hosted Microsoft experience with that model is definitely a strong contender with these other options you have available. So what is this going to cost us? What does Microsoft charge for these models? As I said, there's a base model and a flash model. And Microsoft charges per input and output tokens. Now, both of these models fully support image editing as well. So you can have an image as input and then do editing to that. And the base model, you're looking at $5 per million input tokens. So your image upload is also based on tokens. It's looking at $8 per million tokens for image upload. Now, the output is going to be more expensive, and that's going to run you $47 per million output tokens. Now, a single image on an output is around 1,000 output tokens, so that's what I use to calculate the price and cost of these models. Now, when you look at the flash model, you're looking at significantly cheaper here. Your input tokens, whether it's an image or text, is both $1.75 per million, and your output is more than half of what it was with the base model at $19.50. So you can look at the good price and performance comparison between these two. I didn't see a whole lot of difference myself between these two models. I tend to lean towards the flash model myself, just from that price perspective. So just to give you an overall view then, your total cost is going to be your input tokens plus your input tokens for any uploaded images plus your output tokens to get that full cost of that image. Now, what kind of images can you generate with this? So your input images, they can be JPEG or PNG, supports both of those, and they're actually uploaded as form data inside of your upload request, so not as base 64 encoded like some other models do. And your output is only going to be PNG files. That's your only output option. And their sizing is a little bit quirky, I guess I would call it. Each dimension has to be at least 768, and your maximum height times width is going to be just at 1,000,000 pixels there. And here's some examples of 5 different outputs you can get if you want portrait or landscape or whatever like that. So you do have a lot of different sizing options for output with this model. Now, how are you going to interact with this via the API? So there's a very simple JSON schema that you can send in. It accepts 3 parameters. There's the prompt, what you want it to do. There's the model name, which in this case is going to be either the base model, as you see here, or -flash if you want the flash model, and then the size that you want in length times width. Now, I've also tried this. It also supports size broken out as length and width, and finding out other parameters that are optional has been difficult. I have passed in other parameters and things have worked, so I'm not sure what kind of validation they really do. If you pass in extra parameters, it seems to maybe just ignore them, kind of from what I've seen. But in this case, this is an example of what a prompt would look like. And in this case, a photo of a cat playing with the ball. And whatever prompt you pass in here, this model will actually enrich that prompt for you. And we'll see that in the output in just a moment. So it will take your prompt and then make it better for use of its image generation. Now, let's take a look at your output schema. This is where you get a little bit more detail back. Of course, you get the PNG file back as base 64 encoded image. So you have to decode that. And this is where you get that revised prompt. And I cut it down here because it was too long, but it tells you exactly what prompt it used to create that image. And it's going to be drastically different than the prompt that you pass in. It also passes back model and size, but the usage information is important here. And this is how you can use this to calculate your cost. This is the tokens, inputs, and outputs that it used to generate that image. So that's really good and useful that comes back, that you can leverage that. And here's an example of what that looks like coming back, just in JSON format. So now let's go ahead and see how we would go about setting up this model inside of AI Foundry or OpenRouter. You can support OpenRouter as well. And then let's take a look at how we would make these calls using Postman. And then we're going to finally take a look at leveraging this inside of a real application to create images on the fly. So let's dive into some code. Okay, I've jumped over to a virtual machine. And as I mentioned, there's 2 different ways to access the base model of Image 2.5, and that's AI Foundry or OpenRouter. If you want the Flash model, it's currently only available in AI Foundry. So I've logged into AI Foundry here, and I won't go through the whole process of setting it up. It's not too exciting. but this is the new Foundry portal experience. You can go to View Deployments. Now, if you haven't deployed the model yet, you could go over here and click Deploy a Base Model, and you could just select it here from Available Models and go ahead and just find the image generation model you want to deploy. In my case, I've already deployed them here, and you can go ahead and click on one of these models after you've deployed it, and you get the ability to have a playground here where you could just interact with that model directly right here. And in that case, I could just come down here and describe an image, and it would go ahead and create it for me. You can go ahead and view code, which will give you some code examples of how to interact with this programmatically via the API, which I think is a little more exciting than interacting it here via a chat window. So all that is available to you here inside of AI Foundry. If you are going the OpenRouter approach, once you have an OpenRouter account, you just navigate to image 2.5, and here's the model card for that. It outlines all your input and output parameters, and gives you some benchmark data, a little bit more information about that model itself. So OpenRouter is definitely a viable alternative as well. So in this case, I'm using AI Foundry, and let's jump over to Postman to see how we would call this. Okay, I've now jumped into Postman, and here's our base image, the image 2.5, have my prompt, model, and size, very simple input parameters. I went ahead and executed this already. You can see it ran in just about 25 seconds for this base model, and we can come over here and see what this output looks like, and it's a nice cat picture playing with the ball of string there, just like I kind of requested. And here's our JSON output as we would expect. At the very bottom is going to have our token output, for very simple to set up here. But let's look at this Flash model here where I do the dash Flash. And one thing that I should point out here is the AI Foundry hosted models has two different ways you can authenticate. One is a bearer token, which is great for production workloads because it's a token associated essentially with a intra ID. So you have a lot of control and flexibility around that. So you can provide that bearer token, or you can go ahead and just supply an API key. So I've called it both ways here. Absolutely no difference in the call or the endpoints that you would call to make that call, just different ways that it authenticates, and it matters kind of in the longer term of your security approach for integrating your APIs with your Azure artifacts. So same got the output here, and this is again a cat picture. This was the Flash one, so a little bit different. I think this looks great. And then here's one that I did just a different resolution where I was getting a long resolution here. A little bit hard to see there. But this is just quite simply how easy it is to call this image generation model via the API. So let's see this in action in a real application. So I've jumped over here back to the web, and I have this image generation application that I've created myself. This is just used to compare multiple image generation calls at the same time. This is similar to what I showed in the slides. We're going to see the image 2.5, we're going to see an OpenAI model and then a Google model. So let's just type something in here. I tend to like a frog on the log with a hat and a bat. And I like that because it gives the models a lot of flexibility in how they interpret this. Sometimes I get a baseball bat, sometimes I get a bat flying in the air. It kind of really all depends. So this will take it just a few moments to run, and then we're going to see some aggregated results here below in just a moment. Okay, that completed. We can scroll down here, and this is the Google Imagen image here. That looks pretty good. Here's our 2.5 with the frog on the log. And again, I put the price in here, and that's 2 cents for that image. And then here's the OpenAI one that it comes in at half a cent, and it looks pretty good. So I feel all these are pretty good images here, just kind of depending on what's going to work best for your application. So how did I implement this? If we jump over here into Azure portal, I did a Logic App to create this. And inside the Logic App, just have a workflow here, creates 3 separate images. I aggregate them below. This image 2, very simple here. Just pass in the prompt and the model. And here I did break it out into width and height, so you can see that example. And then it just simply makes that call, passes in an API key in this example, and gets the results back. Very straightforward, very simple to get this to execute. Now, I would always say I go ahead and test everything in Postman first, get the API to work in Postman, and then I would go migrate that into my application. So Postman can give you that kind of real-time results. Then once that's done, I aggregate the results here and return that to the client. So this is a very simple application that does go about and consume that ImageGen 2.5 API, as well as 2 other APIs to generate some shared results here. So hopefully this gives you a good idea of what Microsoft's homegrown image generation model called Imagen 2.5, and then the 2.5 Flash version. Hopefully it gives you an idea of what these are all about and gives you an idea of how you can leverage these in your applications using the API. If you're excited about AI image generation, I have a full video on the OpenAI Image 2 API. You could follow that right here, and go ahead and give this channel a like and subscribe if you like what you see here, and hopefully I see you on the next video. Thank you.